unexplainable. Lemonade and match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. So intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable. Melanated match. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I knew I'd get stuck there.
Hey, it did the same thing to me.
Welcome to His
and Her Perspective.
And here at His and Her Perspective, we find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we do that by having conversations that we're going to have today. Today, we're going to talk about our JUNIVERSARY conversation, straight, no chaser, addicted to poisonous love. Oh my God, I'm excited about this. Oh, we came ready.
Oh man,
we ready.
We didn't even do our ring walk like we
supposed to. We sure did. We have to come down. Come on now, we coming out. Yeah. So listen, if y'all are watching us right now, make sure that you are sharing. Why? Because this is gonna be good. Not just sharing is caring. This is going to be absolutely good. Yeah. So if you're looking at us right now, click the share button, click the heart, give us hearts. Follow us on all social media platforms. Coach Vaun Love Alchemist on all social media platforms. Coach Michelamonè on the same, and ATR, all things relevant, over on all social media platforms. Make sure that you're hitting that red bell on our YouTube page when you subscribe over there so that you get notification of all of the videos that we're going to be uploading. Let us know who you are, where you're tapping in from, and we're going to say hello because it is the right thing to do. When you step into the room, we want to say hi. Listen, today we are on our 50th. Did I lose you, brother? My brother be stepping away, y'all. Don't pin it on man. Okay. 50th show. This is our show number 50 in our JUNIVERSARY month. So happy anniversary, brother.
Yeah. Happy anniversary, sis. We did it.
We did it, man. This is amazing. I'm excited. How are you? You're looking good over there in that red.
You know what I'm saying? Fresh to death and all that there. Thank you. I feel good. But you are the star, though, not me.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was only fishing for that compliment.
I got it.
But no, brother, you look very good over there. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. Listen, who is over here joining us? Today we have Yardley is over at the bakery. How you doing, Yardley?
Always making them donuts, my man Yardley. Get it?
Hey, James, how you doing, brother?
Brother James, salute.
Hey, Sierra, my sister. I love you, girl.
Peace, sis.
Over there, we got some other people over here playing incognito. That's okay. You'll get comfortable with us enough that you'll start chatting in the chat box. Because guess what? If you want to come and talk to us live, guess what you can do? You can always do that by calling us at 304-60-ASK-US. 304-60-ASK-US. And I do need to get that up before we start getting people to call in, but don't do it right now. Give us a moment to get us all started so that we can get this going. But before we do that, why don't we start with our couple? You want to start with that, brother?
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay. So let's see.
Did you have anything else to present that you wanted to talk about before this or no?
No, we going straight in after we do this.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So in the His and Her Perspective couple spotlight, we have Mr. Curtis Hall and I forget the sister's last name, but Curtis and Patricia, but I just do it that way. Now They are not married. They're not married, but they met on a dating site. Now they are advanced age. I don't necessarily have to give away their age, but they're advanced age. They've been together for about a year. But here's what I found interesting about them. So long story short, my daughter was working.
Okay.
And Patricia walks into where my daughter works, and they begin, just discussion, having conversation. And my daughter liked her. She liked my daughter. And my daughter was like, yo, I think that you and my mom would get along great. So they exchanged numbers. Her and my wife, Patricia and my wife, started talking, and we went out. We kicked it with them. So we just met them.
Wow.
So, and they're a little bit older than us, right? So let's just call it seniors.
Okay.
What I like about them is that they offer a refreshing optimism for those who think that just because you get to a certain age that you can't find love.
I love that.
And I appreciate the energy between them and the chemistry between them, man. They look both fire signs. Y'all know how I do with that. And that aligned perfectly for them. And just the way they get along, the chemistry, the joy between them. And I was impressed, but we kicked it. We went out to eat. We went bowling. I won every game. That has nothing to do
throw that in there, right?
That has nothing to do with what we talk about. But
right.
No, but seriously though, I admire them. I appreciate them. So salute to Patricia and my man Curtis for a job well done. Couple spotlight. Y'all make it look good.
All right. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Listen, y'all, we're about to get this started. I hope that y'all ready. So this is gonna be real hot. If you ever, let me say this. So it's really a common, hey, Desi, how you doing? How you doing, lovely wife of the Vaun, the love alchemist over there?
Yeah.
We got Robert Lee in the house. How you doing, Robert? So there's this common refrain that relationships are hard work. Our brother over here always talks about it's not hard work, but it's heart work. He has that in his book called Conditions of Love. Y'all go ahead and get that book. Shameless plug. Yes, it was. So make sure that you get that book. But fights are normal, right? We know that you're going to have some contrast. You're going to have some things going on in your relationships. And there's going to be some rough patches there sometimes, right? But even though all those things are true, we have to make sure that we don't get distracted by the legitimate causes for concern, those red flags that we need to pay attention to, some of the things that are going on in the relationship that may need some tightening up, getting some coaching, getting some counseling, getting some therapy, getting something that happens in those relationships. So these things happen, and then they call pretty much toxic relationships. And what happens is a lot of times people tend to get into these relationships and they get into another one, and then another one, and then another one. Hence us calling this addicted to poisonous love, right? So we have to make sure that we know, that's why we're going to talk about this today, so that people can either figure out, do I need to be in that? Is that healthy or unhealthy? Is it something that I need to get rid of? Or is it something I need to do some work on? Because we're not going to tell you to walk away from marriages and long-term relationships that you've been in, because there probably is some things that you can really get some help with. That's why me and Coach Vaun do this every Sunday, and we do this for life. This is what we do, our call to help couples make love, as my brother says all the time, make love cool again. So today I really wanted to start out, brother. Let's talk about first, because a lot of times people don't even really understand what is a toxic relationship. So let's define that. What are your thoughts?
Man, toxic relationships, I think first and foremost, many of these relationships are just, you could just reduce it to relationships that just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Right? And even if we just start there, because people like to say, oh, men think and women feel, that's nonsense, man. We all feel. We are all emotional beings with varying degrees of expressing logic.
Right.
Women can express logic, men can express emotions and feelings, right? So I think at a foundational level, and I'm not talking about sometimes somebody might hurt your feelings. I'm talking about being in the relationship doesn't feel good.
Right.
That is that is one of the beginning indications, or maybe even the primary indication that you're in a toxic relationship. What say you, Coach?
Thank you, Danielle. We look cute, she says.
You know, that's what we do. You know.
So we do. And I'm going to tell you, okay, so you know me, I'm going to go and do a little bit of research. I'm going to tell you first what I think toxic is. I think it's anything that makes you uncomfortable, anything that makes you act outside of yourself. If you're not truly authentically you in that relationship because you're trying to do something to walk around, do anything that's not who you are, I think that becomes toxic. But let's talk about So there's a woman by the name of Dr. Gillian Glass. In 1995, she termed the word toxic people. And so she defines this as any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other, where there's competition, where there's disrespect and lack of cohesiveness. She says that toxic relationship is consistently unpleasant and draining for the people that's in it, to the point that negative moments outweigh and outnumber the positive ones. These relationships are mentally, emotionally, and possibly even physically damaging to one or both participants. And these relationships, they don't really have to be romantic. They can be familial, professional, as well as romantic. So with all that being said, it's the same things we're saying together. You're uncomfortable. You're not being yourself. It's just not good. So what do you all think? So what did Yarley say over here? He says, toxic relationship equal the unreasonable disagreement between toxic individuals.
You know, here's sometimes the devil is in the details, right? Yeah. Some people are in relationships where they don't even feel comfortable expressing their feelings.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe we have many people they find themselves in a relationship not even being able to say something as simple as, I don't know, that's not what I want for dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's as basic as that, because the other person can get so triggered by your disagreement or your conflicting value.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't even have to be a combative situation, just the slightest sign of conflict.
Yeah.
You want this for dinner, I don't want that for dinner. And that turns into an argument. That turns chaotic. That's an indication that, if you can't even express how you feel about something in sincerity without the without being concerned about the backlash of just expressing how you feel about something, that's an indication of a toxic relationship.
Yeah, because it's that imperfect pairing. And I know that we know that there's no perfect pairing, but when you get to imperfection and that's highlighted, that's something that we have to really pay attention to. It's like these two people need to be in control of each other, right? Of each other's responses, of each other's actions, of how each other are even responding to people outside of the relationship. And a lot of people are doing it. Thank you so much, Garthia. Appreciate that. Garthia, you should have seen us when we came out. You
should have seen our ring walk, bro. We came out with the ring walk.
We out here doing it. We out here. We on the fight. So listen, let's talk about some signs that relationships are toxic, because a lot of times people don't even recognize those signs. Like you just said, with being able to come in and talk about different things and not even be comfortable enough to say, hey, I don't want that for dinner. You're tiptoeing around each other. You're trying to get this whole it's just this uncomfortableness. And that's just really always there, where there's no joy. You seem like that you're unhappy most of the time. You feel sad and anxious. You should feel comfortable in your relationships no matter what. So Garthian says needing permission for everything. That's good.
Wow.
So what do you think of some of the signs, brother?
Yeah. Oh man, it's so many of them. How about, well, he just hit on one. Controlling behavior would be one, but he just said needing permission for everything. So that's one.
Yeah.
What about isolation?
Oh yeah.
Like some people, will push and push to get you away from your family.
Yeah.
To the point where all you have is them.
Yeah.
Your everything revolves around them, and anything outside of them that you seek, or anyone outside of them that you seek comfort in, make them uncomfortable, and they will guilt trip you.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's something to be concerned about, something to watch out for, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when they don't want to talk through issues. I had a situation myself where I brought up something, in a relationship, and they just ignored what I said and kept going on with what they wanted. Those are signs, and those things may be a little subtle, especially if you're talking about in the dating stages. Sometimes when you're in that type of situation and you're already in the relationship and you've ignored some of those things in the beginning, so now you're in the relationship and they're doing that. Most people will think that, they're mad. No, they just maybe ignoring your needs and your desires and your wants. And if they're doing that, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. Yardley says, people believe they deserve agreeableness, consensus, and comfort without the work needed to form a most ideal, not perfect, union.
Absolutely.
They deserve agreeableness. Now that's something to unpack. Maybe one day we can come back and dig into that. Do you deserve agreeableness, or do you have to work toward agreeableness? That's something to think about.
I think that we can unpack that now. We can talk about that because I think it's really something that some people feel entitlement, and that's one of the red flags. When you're dealing with a toxic person, there's a sense of entitlement that they have, that they're supposed to be, you're supposed to agree with everything that they're saying. And if you disagree with what they're saying, then they get and start having hissy fits, as my grandmother used to say.
I'm gonna take a slightly different angle on that, and I would say that the polarity for that would be, if you're going to say I don't deserve agreeableness, then do I deserve disagreeable behavior until I earn it? I would go so far as to say I don't deserve disagreeable behavior unless I bring an element of toxicity to the relationship. I think that's another way of looking at maybe two sides of the same coin. Maybe it's semantics, I don't know. But I would like to think that you would come to the relationship in good faith, with the intention of being agreeable and presenting a workable self, a workable version of yourself to the relationship. And then things tend to go bad. Things tend to devolve into a disagreeable situation. What do you think?
I think that there's a complete difference between being agreeable and being entitled.
Yep.
And I think that there is a difference between being disagreeable and disagreeing.
Absolutely.
So being disagreeable is you always, y'all know this thing on, but you always, y'all know how I am, and I don't know.
It's them spirits that be messing with you.
I think that there's let's unpack that. So disagreeing is just saying, you know what, I don't agree with that, and this is my point of view. What are your thoughts? I think this, and it's okay. I understand yours, but I don't agree. Disagreeable is I don't want to do that. No, we're gonna do this, and everything is a problem. Why are you doing that? What are you doing over there? Who told you? Those things. It's all in the tone. It's in words, because you can be very, very. I've seen somebody, a narcissistic behavior person, who was very disagreeable but never raised his voice. And it was a little psychopathic.
Just a little.
I'm not a clinical therapist yet, so I don't want to. I don't want to diagnose somebody, but just a little bit, because when somebody can come and really calmly tell you and be really nasty with you, you have to wonder.
Kindly manipulative. Is that it?
Yes. Yes.
I just came up with that. That's
You just made that word up. I'm rubbing off on you, making up words now. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. You got it.
Look,
go ahead. My fault.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, so James says, not allowing your mate to grow and develop into the person that they are destined to be, that will benefit the relationship, is also toxic.
Yeah, I like that.
Everything is earned. It's never supposed to be given. What?
Heavy.
I don't agree with that, but see, I agree. I believe in unconditional love. So
there you go. Now, see, I don't agree. I don't believe in unconditional love, but I also don't think that, I don't know that everything has to be earned. I think on some level, I don't know. I like to think I give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove they don't deserve it.
Yeah,
but that has to be balanced, because you can only be so naive. You know, say when people show you who they are, believe them, right?
Yeah, because you have to give. You know, sometimes you may be the first to give, and it's okay. Sometimes you'll be the first person to say, I love you. It's okay. It's be the first time. The first doesn't mean that you're being taken advantage of, or given a little bit more doesn't mean that you're being taken advantage of. It just means that you're working with somebody that may not be used to, or may not be able to, whatever the case may be. But there's a difference between giving to somebody that doesn't deserve to be given to in the first place because they're treating you like crap.
Yeah. Here's another way too. I think that there are certain levels of human respect that are just given off rip.
Yeah.
Right? But trust, on the other hand, is something that might have to be earned.
Yeah.
So it's, nothing is absolute, but I think that upon meeting somebody for the first time, even if I don't know you, or there's a certain level of human decency and respect and courtesy that I'm going to extend until, maybe you ruffle my feathers or whatever, and then it goes bad. But I think there are certain base levels of respect that are given, certain base levels even of trust that many people give. I mean, hell, if you go to a fast food restaurant, you trust in them, or any restaurant, you're giving them a certain level of trust that they're not going to poison you. So I think we get into these different conversations about, what's given, what's earned. And sometimes I think it gets a little deeper than it has to be.
Yeah.
And that really, the thing that's really crazy is that where we need to be deep, people don't go deep. Like finding out some of these red flags, people don't go deep. Where we don't need to be deep, people are all up in it. Well, what does this word mean? And let's break that word down in this sideways, and how many letters in the. It's just not that. It's not that challenging.
Here's a way of saying it: we major in the minors.
We do, as a people.
People have an incredible way of majoring in minor things. We get so bogged down in the minutia of it all. Look, I just learned that word, minutia.
I'm surprised you didn't say the 4-letter word.
What? See. Look, I'm not a sailor anymore. All right.
When did that happen?
You got some of it in me, so don't push me. But I'm just saying.
I know. Andrea Yarley says sociopathic. I guess he was correcting me. Andrea says self-perpetuating codependency. That's
that's a college word if I ever heard of one.
Yep.
Perpetuating codependency. I gotta unpack that one for a minute.
Yeah, that is because that is addicted to poisonous love in some different words. That's really what that is. So it's
another one too, just kind of veggie backing on what you were saying a minute ago. Sometimes people have just this agreeable versus disagreeable. Some people have a combative spirit, right? They just have a combative energy and a combative spirit. And it seems like even when they agree with you, even the agreements stank.
It's
like, yeah, we can go. Like, what? I don't even want to go now.
Right.
Can we go get a burger? Yeah,
I guess.
Come on, man. You hungry or nah?
No.
Like sometimes, and I'm making light of and even using a watered down example, but there are people who bring a very combative spirit to the relationship, and it's almost like no matter what scenario you present them with, even when they agree, they find a way to make you feel bad.
Yes.
That's a toxic relationship.
Or how about this? When people they're so busy being disagreeable. I just had this on my page the other day, and I put something on, I don't even remember the post, but somebody came in and was like, no, and then repeated what I said just in different words. I was like,
yeah.
So you didn't just say what I just said? So
right.
they're so busy being disagreeable that they're bringing that in, and they're automatically disagreeing when it's not anything to disagree about. Because they're just so used to being, again, disagreeable and toxic. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Go ahead.
She said, I hit the nail on the head with that statement about negative spirits. Yep. That's what it is. Robert Lee says some people must have chaos and dysfunction going on in their relationship because that's all they know or have seen. Now, look, I was talking with a brother. Matter of fact, well, I won't get no names, but I'll say this. I was talking with a brother the other day, and he was saying how he grew up in a home where he never saw his parents argue. They've been together for 60 some odd years, and he never saw them argue. So he grew up thinking a happy relationship, you never argue, you never disagree, you don't have any conflict. So then when he got married, he was like, damn, this don't feel right because we're actually arguing.
Right.
So now here's the trick to that. Like, you can disagree without being disagreeable. You can have conflict without being combative, right? Yeah. And one of the things that I think is critical in relationships, like, of course, you don't want toxic spillover onto your children. You don't want to be combative in front of the children, but I think it's critically important for them to see you resolve conflict.
Yes.
Right? It's critically important for children to see you resolve conflict in a healthy way. Like, mom and dad disagree about whatever, maybe what we're going to have for dinner or where we might go, for the next family vacation. And maybe that's a genuine conflict, and maybe even rubs, somebody the wrong way. But I think that we do our children a great disservice when they don't get to see us work through issues. Right. One, for the purpose of teaching them that conflict can be resolved, and two, for teaching them that things don't have to go off the rails just because we have a disagreement.
Right.
What say you?
And they also need to show that there is conflict, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're arguing, kicking things and throwing things in front of your kids. No, but it should be okay that they hear mom and dad not agree all the time. Right. Because you're teaching them, like this gentleman who grew up thinking that you don't have conflict. That's because they hid it behind closed doors all those years and messed that poor man up. So then when he get into a real relationship, he going, wait, something's wrong. And it's nothing really wrong because we're two different individuals and you're going to have conflict.
Yep.
So it's not about not having conflict. It's about how you manage the conflict. That's really what you need to be learning how to do. Yeah. You need to become a master of managing conflict in your relationship, not a person that's walking around so we don't argue. Because I promise you, if you are not arguing, y'all probably not having sex either.
Ooh. Hey, now you're disturbing the sparks. Watch this. I'll even go so far as to say conflict is healthy.
Yeah.
Conflict is healthy. We grow from conflict. What we decrease from is combat.
Yes.
I keep saying it. Conflict is inevitable, but combat is avoidable.
Absolutely. Who would say? James, go ahead.
My fault. James says, my wife and I, in the first year of our relationship before getting married, we talked, and I was able to know what she wanted and needed instead of guessing, which could have caused conflict.
Now that's perfect, James. Thank you so much for sharing that, because listen,
people are so busy walking around saying things like, well, they should just know what I want. I mean, they just must. I mean, are you not paying attention to me? Nobody is a mind reader, and nobody should be walking around trying to you shouldn't be wanting somebody to make up, read your mind. Then that means you're toxic.
Yeah.
Because because what you're doing is you're stirring the pot of something that does not have to even be there. Yep. And then when you do come, because you're not talking about what's really happening in your mind, body, and spirit, when you finally do come with something, it's usually conflict. It's nothing healthy about, babe, I noticed last week, we how do you think we need to, come with that? Let's talk about that. It's, what, you don't do nothing I asked you to do. When you could have just brought that to your partner, your mate, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, in such a healthy way that you all are now conflict managing, and you're discussing it instead of arguing about it.
Here's another one. These are the obvious ones, but since we didn't say it, I guess I'll say it. Verbal and physical abuse. My wife punched me so hard last night. No, I'm kidding. No, she didn't, y'all. No, she didn't.
Please don't believe that.
Verbal and physical abuse. Now, physical abuse is the obvious one, but what's not so obvious a lot of times is that verbal abuse can often cause wounds that are as deep or even deeper than the physical abuse. Yes. What do you think?
I think that is 1000% correct. I had a couple that I was coaching, and she in the middle, and it left him sitting there like this. She said, I am so broken that if you would turn me inside out, I would be black and blue.
Wow.
So all of the things that he had done to her, the cheating, the infidelity, the verbal abuse, the things, the snide remarks that were tearing at her, was literally beating her up on the inside and drying her insides out. Instead of him watering her, instead of him filtering love into her, instead of him, clearing all of that junk out and getting into her and helping her heal. And let me say this really quick. So many times we hear people saying, I see this on Facebook all the time, it is not my responsibility to help no grown man or grown woman heal. If you get into a relationship with this person, it is your responsibility to help them heal. Because if you think, especially in our community, that you're going to meet a person that does not need some healing in some area of their life, you might as well stay single for the rest of yours. Because there's going to be some places in their life, it may not be the same as yours or mine or anybody. You're going to have some things that may come up that you still may have to work on. Yep. And if you want to be involved with somebody, you must have the patience enough to be able to walk them through that.
Now, look, sometimes your helping them heal is nothing more than you just not causing further injury.
There it is.
Right?
Yes.
Because look, if we're going to keep it a stack, we know that healing is from the inside out.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody is responsible for their own healing process, right?
Yes.
As my wife's mate, as her complement, let's say she's got some healing to go through. Let's say she even had something, traumatic from her childhood. And maybe she doesn't trust men. Let's go there for a second, right? Let's say maybe my wife had abandonment issues and she doesn't trust men.
Yeah.
And she's got to heal from that, right? My job isn't necessarily to pull and tug and be helping her and pushing her and go cheering her on to heal from that. Sometimes I can do something as simple as not causing further injury.
Absolutely.
What does that look like? Be where I say I'm going to be. Do what I said I'm going to do, right? If I said I'm going to be home, if I get off work at 3:00 and it takes me about a half hour to drive home, chances are I should be here routinely at about 3:45. Maybe I make a stop 4:00 or whatever, right? But if I'm coming up missing, she can't find me, I'm not answering my phone, I'm not responding to text messages, and then I show up at 5 o'clock, right? Then things look kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now, what a lot of people do, I don't know if this is called gaslighting. I don't know. I'm still kind of conflicted on that term. I don't know what that means fully yet.
Yeah, I have it right here, so we can go ahead.
But what some people do is, because you didn't catch them in the act of doing something, they can then flip it and say, well, you insecure because you ain't got nothing on me. You ain't seen me do nothing. You ain't got no phone numbers. You ain't got no, love letters. You tripping.
Yeah.
Knowing that they've contributed to the slowing down of your healing process, right? Knowing that they've contributed to your feelings of insecurity. I'm not going to say they caused it, but they've certainly sown seeds into it.
Yeah.
So again, I'll just reiterate, sometimes the best thing you can do is just not cause further injury.
And that's the thing. You hear a lot of people, especially women in particular, who say things like, I told him everything I've been through, and he does the exact same thing that they did. That makes no sense. And a lot of women are like, why does that happen? Why is it that everything that, and even men, because I've had men that say it too, why is it that everything I told my partner that has happened to me in my past, are they doing the exact same thing? And that's because they're broken. Now, gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse that's seen in abusive relationship. It's the act of manipulating a person by forcing them to question their own thoughts, their memories, and the events occurring around them. A victim of gaslighting can be pushed so far that they question their own sanity.
Heavy.
Yeah.
So I guess I was kind of touching on it a little bit.
You were.
I didn't go as deep as you just went, but that's crazy.
And I've been there. I have been, when you sitting there like, was it me? Maybe it was me. Maybe I said something. I mean, it's like I have been there. Wow. And it is a crazy thing it's a crazy place to be, because you're in, and I'm an empath, and I'm self-inspective, and I've always been that way, where I'm trying to make sure I'm better than I was the day before, things of that sort. So to get a person that's like that, a person that comes into and they're gaslighting you sitting there going, you like, what was, I don't even believe what I believed before.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been there.
Robert Lee said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to read it. Go ahead.
Okay. Robert says, question, what if you beat someone, as you say, that these help in healing, but they want to do the healing process themselves and they don't want your help?
What if you meet someone? He's talk texting. Robert B. talk texting.
Oh, okay. So what if you meet someone, as you say, that these help in healing, that needs help in healing, I guess, but they want to do the
healing process themselves. They don't want you to help.
Well, I'm sounding like a second grader up here trying to read.
Because Robert is always talk texting, so we have to maneuver around more. So this is the thing. I believe that a person that is there and they don't want the help, they don't believe that they deserve help. So you have to help them incognito.
On the low.
You said what?
I say on the low, huh? Just kind of.
Yeah, and that's basically what Coach Vaun said earlier about making sure that you're adding to their lives and not deducting from their lives. You're adding to their joy. You're doing things because you can't. Ultimately, they have to still go through the process. But as long as you're doing what Coach Vaun said earlier, and you're adding to them, you're pouring life into them, you're feeding beauty into their lives, then that can help them too. But if this is the thing, this is a caveat here. If they get to the point where if they're getting to the point where everything that you say that's positive, they tell you that they're down, and you go, well, let's get up. And then they says, no, I don't want to get up. And they're addicted to that pain, because there is a part of that. And they're addicted to that, and all they're going to do is keep pulling you down. So there has to be a point
where you decide, I've thrown you the life jacket or the whatever that round thing is, because I don't swim.
It's a life raft.
Thank you. I've thrown you the life raft. I got the little thing that's supposed to pull you back in. At some point, if you see yourself coming in and you're pulling, you're gonna have to cut.
Yeah.
Let it go. I don't swim, but I have heard lifeguards say, if you are in the water and you are trying to save somebody and they're fighting you, back off until they get tired. And when they start sinking in, then grab them.
Wow.
But that's going to take a whole bunch of patience for you to do that in this type of situation.
And that's tough, because you can literally see somebody who is fighting for their lives while also killing themselves at the same time.
Man, that is a bad. I was in that situation, and y'all know I got a lot of situations, right? But every time I would tell him that the sun is shining, he would see every cloud in the sky. If I would say that the food tastes good, but it's too salty. If I would say that, oh, it feels good out here, oh, it's hot. It was just everything that I said to build, he would come back and tear down. And it was like, I had to get to the point where I was like, back off, because you're so down in yourself that you are going to either pull me in with you, or that's the only thing that was happening. You're going to pull me in with you, or I'm walk away. And I decided to walk away.
Now, there's another side to that too. Two sides of the same coin, right? But there are some people who would rather continue to complain about what they're going through instead of healing, because complaining gets them the attention that they crave, right? So they would rather stay hurt, or at least feigning hurt. And maybe it is a real pain. I'm not in there, but some people, again, they would rather stay in that place because of the attention that they get from being in that place, rather than to heal. That's also
that is, man. That is. I had a client like that too. It's crazy. This is the thing. I'm not that coach. Well, I'm not a therapist. Okay. I am the coach that you see the coaches on the basketball court, and that coach, I do everything but cuss. Because I'm coming for whatever you need taken out. I'm coming for it. And I can't tiptoe in it and go, oh, well, let's just coax it on out and just come out. No, come out. We're not doing that.
So you cast the demons out, right?
Oh, we casting them out. I told you I'm coming. I'm not that one. So when somebody is coming and they're trying to hold on to that, I'll give you a few times, right? So that you can get to know me, so that you don't think that I'm mean. And then I'm coming in and I'm going to say, okay, so you going to hold on to that? You want to keep talking about that? You want that? Okay. Is it good to you? Do it feel good? Do it taste good? Is it bringing you some money? So why are you protecting it like it's gold? Because that's what they're doing. They're protecting their pain like it's profiting them something.
There's got to be a clinical term for that. I don't know what I got to do some more reading, but
I ain't got to that class yet. We gotta let that go. You know what? I love how Iyanla Vanzant, she says that you are addicted to. She does this. You're addicted to that pain. And so you want a new fix. Stop fixing it. Stop shooting it up like it's crack.
Yeah, there's so many people who need therapy, right? There are so many people who need coaching and counseling. Like when you talk about Black relationships, there is an element that's largely missing from where we are, and what would actually help us to get to this place of healthy relationships. And we don't have, for the most part, or I should say in large part, we don't have cultural boundaries or cultural guidelines for how we're supposed to healthily interact with each other. So there is no healthy courting process. There's no healthy dating process. I mean, there is, but it's not a widely adhered to set of values. And so most people are out here just figuring it out as we go along. Should we have sex within the first 30 days? Is it okay to do it as soon as it feels good? Maybe one night, second night, third night. Do we wait till we're married? Like, there are no hard lines where we say, this is the process. This is the road toward whether or not we're going to be married, establish a family, et cetera, et cetera. And so most people, I think, are living in the pain and in the aftermath of not having those cultural boundaries and guidelines. This is where coaches like, look, shameless plug, this is where coaches like me and Coach Michelamonè come in, because many times people don't even know their way in, let alone their way through once they get in.
Yeah. How about this? You only live once. That is the most boundaryless person ever. If you're 50 years old or better, 40, let's go a little bit lower. If you're 40 years old and you're walking around YOLO, something's wrong. There's some pain within you that you have not dealt with, because there has to be some boundaries in your life at that point. And so when you think that, like you said earlier, when you don't know when there's certain things that should happen, and you're walking around boundaryless, you are setting yourself up for a toxic relationship. It is inevitable, and it's going to keep coming to you over and over and over again. But you gotta
man, look at this, watch this. We hear cliches like that, sayings like that, and they're very catchy and they sound good. You only live once, and then they give you a nice little acronym, YOLO.
Yeah.
Right? But if you think about it, it's really kind of stupid. And here's why I say it's stupid. You only die once, but you live every day.
Yeah.
So you actually live more than once. You get a new chance at life every day. You live every day. You only die once. Right. But sometimes the mistakes you make, if they're great enough, you can carry them for a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that could just really get you, into a big mess. James says, this is just my opinion. I believe if more men would educate themselves in personal development and tune into brothers like Brother Vaun and just listen diligently, change would take place and relationships would be better understood. I say this from experience. Absolutely. And we always talk about this whole alpha thing, right? Alpha just simply means first. So if you're walking around saying you're an alpha male, it means you're supposed to just go first. So if your relationship is toxic and your woman hasn't called a therapist or a coach, then you need to do it. Pick up the phone, call Coach Vaun, man. If you want to do couples and you want Coach Vaun and you want both of us, but somebody needs to go first. And sometimes it may be the man, because there needs to be somebody taking responsibility for that, like James is saying. You know,
what's really ironic about that is that most men, I think most couples subscribe to the idea that men should lead, right? And I won't argue that. What I'm saying is this, though. 9 times out of 10, when couples come to me, it's because the woman initiated it. So if you're leading as a man, you should be just as in tune to where you can recognize that your relationship is in trouble and in need of help. Absolutely. And not necessarily your woman having to take the lead to make the repairs for your relationship. Mm-hmm. But again, we're in this place where it's not easy for men to say, I need help.
Yeah.
And so many times when I talk to men, they say things like, damn, man, I wish I would have known that a year ago, 5 years ago, 3 marriages ago. Yeah. Right. So to the point that Brother James just made, man, it is critically important that our men get some help, man, because we're carrying many of us are carrying some very unhealthy ideas. And I don't know, man, it's causing more harm than good by us not getting that help. So
yeah, absolutely. And Yarly, you only live once, but you die 1,000 deaths. Yeah. Valerie says alpha simply means first, truth anyhow. Absolutely. And so we really got to get to the place where you are taking responsibility for yourself. This is the thing. If you're in a relationship, it shouldn't be 50-50. It should be 100-100. Give your all, give your all. And if you're not giving your all, if you can walk away from your relationship and you really cannot say, I did everything, including getting coaching, that I possibly could have before walking away. Now, we want to be clear. We're talking about being addicted to poisonous love. You can still heal. This is the thing. Most people are not healthy enough or patient enough to walk through that. And if you can't do it by yourself, get some help. Stop thinking that you are an island to yourself because you call yourself grown, because that's what most of us are doing. We feel like you said earlier, Coach Vaun, oh, we're out here doing it and trying to figure it out because we're grown. I don't need nobody in my relationship, or, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. And, I don't need anybody talking to me and knowing my business. And what goes on in this house stays in this house. That right there has got people molested, raped, murdered, beaten, all those things, because what goes on in this house stays in this house, which has us in the generation that we're in right now, where nobody wants to talk about anything. You don't want to have discussions. You just want to keep walking around in this toxicity environment, in this environment that's just breeding toxic. Just if you want to just be toxic, go down to one of the plants, stand there in one of the pipes where the smoke coming on out. Just stand there then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why? But you got to get to the place where you're not doing that, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're standing in this poison. Instead of getting some help, you just rather just stand there and suck it in, breathe it all in.
One of the things I appreciate about where we are today, I can imagine that when my grandfather was a little boy, even when my father was a young man, that men didn't talk about feelings. We didn't talk about how we felt. We didn't outwardly express our disappointment in different ways. And with where we are today, men are growing much more comfortable with sharing, some of the things that hurt them. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate being in the business of serving that, right? Mm-hmm. I was on the phone Friday with a client, and this brother was telling me about one of his friends, mm-hmm. how his friend was having some health issues. Mm-hmm. And so the health issues made him a bitter person. We're talking about toxic relationships, right? So his health issues made him a very bitter person. And so his bitterness was spilling over into his marriage. So he was dealing with these health issues and then taking it out on his wife.
Yeah.
He would talk to her in different ways that that weren't very good. He would snap at her in different ways. And the conflict between him and his wife caused her brother to intervene.
Yeah.
So now there's conflict between the two men, right? So my buddy, my client tells his buddy, hey man, I know you're going through something, but you got to be nice to your wife, man. You can't just talk to her any kind of way and treat her any kind of way. And he's giving him these ideas like, you got to still be nice to your wife despite what you're going through. And my client told me that his friend said, nobody ever told me that.
Mm.
And that was mind blowing, because this man is sitting here admitting that nobody ever told you to be nice to you. Be kind to your wife. And I'm saying, look, family, we are hurting, right? Many of us are hurting, and we are ruining our families because of all the different things that we've already named: the toxicity, the lacking of cultural boundaries and relationship guidelines. But again, I'm so thankful that we're at this place now where men are willing to express what it is that they're thinking and feeling and experiencing. And it's so needed. It's so needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you know somebody, particularly men, I really enjoy helping the brothers. So if you know a man that is in need of man, just being able to share and discuss what it is that he's going through, man, give that brother my name and my number, my information, and man, have him get at me, because we need this.
Yes. Thank you so much, Danielle. I appreciate that. And first, let's stop real pause for a moment.
Where Danielle at? What she said?
She said, I am a good coach. That's my client.
Okay. She said, Coach will snap you right out of it. She said she will get you right together. She said also get her book, A True Eye Opener. It allows you to see that you're not the only person who goes through certain things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now that's not even a shameless plug. That's a real plug.
That's a real plug. Thank you, love. I appreciate that. And that's real. If anybody is on here that is going through domestic violence, there's a hotline. If you cannot find, you can call me at Vaun. You can call somebody, but there's a 24/7 guidance, 800-799-7233. National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233. I'll say it one more time, 24/7 guidance, 800-799-7233 to get some help, because there's some people that are out here that's really afraid for their lives, and they need help. So please reach out to them.
Yeah.
Robert says that we must also accept that as men, we may not be the leader of one or one up for the woman. Sometimes the relationship is meant for us to do life with. Not sure, Robert. You have to clarify that. Valerie says, some women speak negatively about men that share their feelings. This is so hard to comprehend. It took me years to get my husband to open up. I wish he was that way in the beginning. And you're right, but this is what we talk about, Valerie. We're talking about our community as a whole has taught our men not to do that. Oh, stop crying. You a sissy. Oh, you boys don't cry. Man up, act like a boy, all these things. Yeah, you soft. Mm-hmm. All those things we have taught our boys growing up. I was that mother, honestly, because I was taught what I was taught. And I had to learn it is okay for my son to cry. I remember saying to him, you don't cry, boys don't cry. That was the most terrible thing that I could have taught my son. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that my son is so loving and nurturing, even still today. He'll go from 1 to 100 if you make him, but his heart, the core of who he is sensitive, and it's loving, and it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But I could have turned him into this hard, I don't love women, I can't stand women, because I didn't know better.
Yeah. Look, Yarley just came up with a point. He said he was angry at his health condition, talking about the guy that I was just mentioning. He was angry at his health condition, not his wife. We men need some empathy and a comfortable space to express ourselves openly without judgment. I agree. Now, here's the thing. Even though he wasn't angry at his wife, and even though he needed some empathy, you still have to carry yourself in a way that doesn't injure other people. So just because you're hurting, that doesn't give you a license to hurt other people.
Yeah.
Right. They say hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that. There's a lot of that going around. But again, yes, you need empathy. We all need empathy, based on what we're going through. But we also got to check ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just be out here, running roughshod and yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. There's a older lady I've known. She's gone and passed, rest in peace. But I used to wonder why she was so mean to her husband. And they were just the cutest couple, but every time he say something, she would just snap at him. And I would be like, oh, so I finally asked a family member of hers during that time, why is she so mean to him? Did he cheat? He must have been, because he was a good-looking older man. I said, he must have cheated on her. And she was like, no, she didn't want to cheat it. She was mad at him for forgiving her, for showing kindness to her, because she couldn't forgive herself. That if that is not, and what that was perfect for what Andrea said earlier.
Yeah.
What did she say? Dang on it.
Perpetual.
Perpetual self-perpetuating codependency.
Yeah.
She was perpetuating. She was just giving. Just terrible. Treating him bad because she was mad that he had the heart to forgive her for real, because he loved on that woman and lived longer than her too, still alive.
I bet he did. It probably, that toxicity. Look, some people bring so much toxicity to whatever relationship that they're in, that toxicity will eat them alive.
Yes. If you don't think that cancers and all these different diseases, dis-ease that we're causing our body isn't caused by what we're doing here and here,
yep,
you're missing it then. Because
anger will eat your liver up.
Man,
you carry anger. We carry anger. People, not we, but people who carry excessive amounts of anger with them, it will literally eat your liver. That energy is stored in your liver.
Yeah, see, we don't understand what we're doing. Our bodies can be healed by affirming. You know, there's a book that I go to. It's like my healing Bible, if you will, and it works. There's sometimes I'm stubborn and I'm just feeling like, okay, I want the pain to stop today, right now, at this second, peel, right? But if I'm really mindful and I'm really like, you know what? No, I'm not going to take any pain pills. I'm going to go to my healing book. I forgot the name of it, but A to Z, your body healing itself, something like that. If anybody wants to inbox me, I'll give you the information. But I have had, I remember when I was going through the process after having my spine surgery, and I would speak the words. And it wasn't necessarily things like, you know, directly to that, because it was things that was underlying, that was causing that pain, that I would have to speak to that thing, not to the pain. So I would have to affirm, yes, I feel good about myself. I am safe. I am whole. You know, things like that. And it had nothing to do with the pain or where the pain was coming from, but it had something to do with the underlying cause. And I promise you, those healing.
Yeah.
Words have power of life,
don't they?
And death. Your body can heal. And so if you're in a relationship that's toxic and you're talking at each other, you are placing those words into the DNA of the next generation and the next generation of that person. You are not just harming the person that you're looking at, you are harming the person in their future.
Yeah.
And so we gotta take real good sight of what we're doing to each other, that it's not just a right now thing. I'm angry, I'm pissed off. I'm gonna tell you what my mind tells you to tell you. I'm gonna just tell you off, I gotta get it off my chest kind of thing. No, you're talking to their kids, and for those who are saying, well, I'm old enough, I can't have any more kids, you're still talking into the generations, because that's still gonna go in there. So just still, you know.
Yep.
So things like, you know, they won't talk through issues. They're constantly testing boundaries. You know, if a person is testing your boundaries that you've already laid out and they're testing them, they're toxic. Walk away.
Yep.
You know, things like you say that you don't want to go further sexually and they insist. You say that you're not available on Sunday, but they push you to see them. You say that you're not ready to have them meet your family members, but they keep talking about it. They push you to date exclusively before you're ready. They want to move in or get married or set up a bank account before you want to. Things like they try to change the way that you wear your hair without your consent. They're constantly talking. Those are toxic things that you got to pay attention to. You know.
Two comments. Robert Lee says, we as men try to give our women the solution to help her get to the next level or healing, but we are told to stop trying to fix it. There's some meat on that.
Let's stop with that for a moment.
Okay,
because this is the thing, Robert. So when a woman comes to her man, she is not always looking for a solution. Men process. So let's just give you a visual. The man is in this box thinking about the same thing that she's thinking about. He's over here quiet, is renumerating it through his mind, coming up with a solution. Then he's going to speak about it. She over here been called about 15 people because you over here in your box and she can't reach you. But she done told 15 people everything that she needed to do. By the 10th person, she started to figure it out. By that 15th person, her solution is there. In other words, she has to talk it out. So when she's talking to her man, he's not necessarily looking for a solution. She just wants you to be quiet and hear her heart. And then when she says, but babe, what you think? She just wants to know what you think. She may not necessarily want a solution. Most women will say, I need help with this. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that because I was having that very conversation with a client earlier this morning.
Really?
Yeah. And it's amazing because we don't process the same. We don't emote the same. And women are often looking to just talk through their feelings. Yeah. Whereas men, we don't have as many words as y'all do.
Right.
Y'all got, something like 15,000 words per day in your data bank, and we only get about 2,000-3,000.
Right.
and so when you give us an issue, immediately our mind works on solving the problem.
Absolutely.
Right? But the thing is, because of the way you are wired, you're not always looking for us to solve the problem. Sometimes you're just looking for the comfort of us listening.
That's it.
And that's really hard for us.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I think that there has to be some compassion shown both ways. One, from the man, of course, to the woman who is doing that, but also from the woman who knows that that's how, or who needs to understand that her man is wired to solve a problem when she presents him with it. Yeah. So this is a process that gets developed and fine-tuned over time. I'm gonna tell you, I'm still not all that great at it. I'm better at it than I used to be. Not as good as I'm gonna be. But I'm,
you know what it takes though, bruh? All it takes is communication in saying, preferencing in the door with that particular conversation, babe. I just need you to listen. I need to vent. Can you just hear my heart?
You know, y'all don't do that.
I'm not saying that all of us do it.
Sometimes the conversation just kick off, and before you know it, you in third gear. And
well, then she shouldn't get mad if he come up with a solution.
Yeah, again, like you said, or like I said, one of us, both of us said that it's an evolution. It's a process before we get there, and we learn each other's signs, and I don't mean zodiac signs. I mean just learn each other's indicators for when you're actually looking for help versus when you just need to get something off your chest.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that is something that both Vaun and I do. We have processes to help you figure out what those triggers are. Help you figure out how to, oh, that's why she does that. Oh, that's why he does that. We do it differently. He does it with the alchemy and I do it with assessments, but we're still coming up with those keys, those tools that you need in order to be able to go, oh, I get it now. Because once we understand that there is a distinct difference in how we process, how we communicate, we're not different. Okay. Men and women ultimately, Coach Vaun talks about this all the time. We ultimately underlying want the same things. How we get there are two different things. Yep. And once we realize that it's not personal, My partner is not coming at me or coming for me. They're not against me, but we're together as one against the world, right? That we can understand that, oh, you do this a little bit differently. It doesn't make it right, wrong, or indifferent. It just means it's different.
Right.
So, and we need to figure that part out.
Yep, very much so. James says, going back to toxic, we must be careful of outside influencers who do not have a heart for building strong relationships. They are giving advice about something they are not producing.
Yes. Yes.
Crucial.
Yes. And that's we know who we're talking about, some of these influencers out here who are talking about, and dividing, anything that divides, you know what I'm saying? Anything that divides is toxic. I don't care how you slice the pie. If it's dividing the ultimate goal of relating, because there's 3 things we have been kept from. I talk about this all the time. We as a community have been taken advantage of and not given the tools and the strategies that we can create successful relationships, successfully staying wealthy or creating wealth and keeping it, and successfully learning how to either eliminate war or how to work through war.
Yeah,
we haven't been taught those 3 sciences, and because we haven't, you have Coach Vaun and myself who are teaching those keys and strategies so that you can learn how to do that, so that generationally you're now working on a better slate.
We probably need to do a show on those 3 sciences.
Yeah,
and just break them down one at a time.
Yeah.
or maybe all 3 at one. But
yeah, we have to do that. We have to write that down.
Yeah. Because that, if it doesn't matter what you build, if you don't know how to protect it, you may as well not even have built it. Because they're going to look, there's always some effort. Can I put on my tinfoil hat for a minute?
Go ahead.
All right, put my tinfoil hat on for a minute. There will always be efforts to undo whatever it is that you're trying to do. There will always be efforts to destroy what you build.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm gonna take the hat off. I just leave it right.
No, let me back it up with the word. Okay. The enemy is gonna always come and steal the good word that you've been given, the good thing that you've been given. Anything good, the enemy is gonna come right back in and try to steal, kill, and destroy it. So then, if it's not just him putting on a tinfoil, it's the laws of the universe. Period. That is what's gonna happen. He's got to do his job. I keep saying that's the hardest working dude I know. Okay, y'all got to work harder at making sure that he doesn't succeed at his job.
Yep. Ferrante says relationships are effortless when those involved are in rapport with each other. Those out of rapport are incongruent. Incomparable individuals are always going to be at odds and disagreement. Look, I love that. And I just made a status yesterday, or maybe it was the day before yesterday, where watch how basic this sounds. This almost sounds like a kindergartner could have wrote it, right? But I think it's profound. I said, in order to be in a healthy relationship, you got to be healthy.
Yeah, simple, right?
Simple as it gets, right? But I think that people underestimate just how profound that is. So you got a bunch of unhealthy people out here looking for healthy relationships.
Yeah.
Right? Showing up to the relationship with all this baggage.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with baggage.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to unpack it in order for it to be beneficial.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You go on a vacation with a suitcase, you got your best summer outfits in there, you got your sandals, you got your flip-flops, you got your tank tops and your shorts, your Hawaiian shirts. It ain't gonna do you no good if you don't take it out. If you don't unpack it.
You naked.
It's the same thing with relationships. We are all bringing some level of baggage to relationships with us. But if you don't unpack that baggage and analyze it for what it is, and see what benefits you, I need this toothbrush, I'm gonna keep that. The bitterness, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. You gotta unpack that stuff, analyze it, see what's beneficial, what's not, rightly discern, and keep it pushing.
Yeah. We talked about that before, sometime before, Coach Vaun, about how, you know, we have to get to the place where you're so inspective of yourself. And I'm not talking about walking around paranoid about every single thing that you do and say, but so much so that when something happens that doesn't make your spirit feel good, that you go, wait, what was that? Maybe I need to take a step back, fix that, work on that, and then step back in the situation. Now, if you're in a relationship, you can't step all the way out the relationship to do that, but you could take a day or so, moment or so, some little bit of time to self-inspect and figure out what that is, rather than saying that person made me mad, that person is getting on my nerve. Why are you letting that person control your every move like a puppet? He who angers you controls you like a puppet. They got strings on your arms. So every time you say somebody made you mad, that means you have no control over your own body.
Okay. I got a question.
What's up?
How do you know when you're the toxic one?
Ooh.
Do people always know? I'm not convinced that people always know. So how do you know when you are the toxic one in the relationship? When you are the one bringing toxicity to the relationships? People are out here looking for love, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even as Buckwheat would say, looking for nub in all the wrong places.
All the wrong places.
Right? Some people are out here looking for love in all the wrong places. How do you know when you are the one bringing the toxicity to the relationship? Riddle me that, Coach. Riddle me that.
A person can say that they are the bottom denominator to all of the circumstances, and they have not taken out the time, energy to heal from those things, figure out what the problem is, go in, cut it up, chop it up, look through it, then get rid of it. If you haven't taken the time, but you keep saying things like, I keep meeting the same kind of woman, I keep meeting the same kind of man, and why do I keep running to this type of dude? Because you haven't taken the time to heal whatever that is on the inside of yourself. Take some time and do that. And so many times we're looking for love in all the wrong places because we're too busy looking for love instead of trying to figure out what that is. Now, there are some times that you may have to go through some things in the relationship to figure out that there's some things going on, because you can't heal everything until you can't walk around and go, I'm going to heal everything. You may not do that. But you got to get to the place where you are doing something about some of the issues that you keep running up on.
Look, I say this all the time. If you don't heal from what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Ooh, there you go.
If you don't heal from what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Yes.
And many times, I think people are showing up to these relationships not understanding what it is that they should be looking for. Right? Now watch this. There are a lot of people who are looking for love rather than becoming lovable.
That's good.
You can't. I'm not trying to be too analytical, but I'm saying first you have to even make it basic, right? You can't be in a good friendship unless you're willing to be a good friend. Right? You can't be in a good, healthy, loving relationship unless you are a good, healthy, lovable person. You got some nasty ass people out here. Can I say that? Can I cuss on TV?
Yeah, you can cuss on TV.
You got some nasty, sorry, mama, nasty people out here who, and I'm not saying that anybody is unlovable or doesn't deserve to be loved or whatever, but I'm saying if you showing up in the spirit of nastiness, the spirit of combativeness, right? You got a combative spirit, a combative energy about you. It's hard as hell for people to love people that's bringing that kind of energy to the relationship. So I guess my question from that is, how do you determine when you are the one, not only that is the toxic one, but how do you determine when you are the one in need of therapy and healing and preparation for a healthy relationship? How do you do that?
You do that by making sure, like I just said, that you
I'm not asking you all these questions. I'm not trying to put you per se on it. I'm putting his and her perspective on.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
People need to pay attention. They're so busy. I'll give you a perfect example. When people are in relationships and they're trying to rush things, rushing in relationships, and I got a perfect example. I on a dating website, and I got this paragraph of things that was wrong or that he did on my life. I'm divorced. I got 3 kids. I got 2 dogs. I worked here. I did this. Now you know everything about me. Can we meet up? You're sick. Not sick here. You're sick here. Because you're so busy trying to find acceptance. You're so busy trying to get someone to know who you are because you don't clearly know yourself. So you're walking around with these labels of what you think you are versus allowing someone to see what they see that you are. So you need to come up front, because that's what that is. Let me step in front of you, give you all my labels so that you got them. Here they are. You got them. No, let me shift through some of this, because what is this? If you're trying to do that, then you need to get some healing. If you are in position where you're not trying to have the conversations, you don't want to talk through these issues, you think that you have this huge sense of entitlement, you think everything is about you, everything is, let's say one, you think everything is about you. You could be talking about, baby, we need to talk about chicken. Well, I don't like chicken. Why we always got to eat chicken? And what's wrong with the chicken? They're overly critical about previous partners. If your gut is telling you something's wrong, never point at the next person first. Always point at you first. Make sure that your hands are clean. Danielle talked about this last time, because I talked about your hands being clean. Make sure your hands are clean before you go to the table and try to pick up something else, because you got dirty hands. So point at yourself always first, and then bring something to the table.
You know, one of the hardest things for people to do. I was talking to a young man a little while ago, and he had all these complaints. And, well, not all these complaints, but he had a few. And they were legitimate complaints, right? But I asked him, was there an opportunity for you to make a different decision to have a different outcome? Of course, the answer was yes, right? Could the scenario have been different from what it is right now? And the answer was yeah, but it wasn't yeah until after a very long pause. Here's the point. People have a hard time, not everybody, some people have a really hard time owning their role for where they are, right? This is what we talk about. This is what we mean when we talk about accountability. Right? If you could have done something different to exact a different outcome than the one you're unhappy about, you got to own that. Like, it's easy. It feels good to blame somebody else because that load is off me, right? But when we get down to the real, like, okay, here's one. My baby mama ain't worth nothing, right? Why did you promote her to baby mama?
Come through.
Just saying. You promoted her. She didn't do that unless she the Virgin Mary. She didn't come down with that one on her own.
Right.
You promoted her. Could you have done something different where you would have exacted a different outcome, where you wouldn't be struggling with a trifling ass baby mama or baby daddy?
Yeah.
The answer is yeah. You either A, plant your seed in a more fertile, healthier soil, right?
Right.
Or B, you lend your womb to a healthier seed.
Yeah.
Right. But once the seed comes to fruition, once we get the fruit, that's not the time to start complaining about who you created the fruit with, right? That decision takes place 9 months ago.
Yes.
And 12 months ago.
Yes.
So I'm saying own your role in what it is that you're dealing with. This is how you bring a healthy mindset, a healthy heart, a healthy being to the relationship.
I've been telling my kids since they were old enough to have this type of sex conversation, the birds and the bees, if you will. If you do not see yourself being with that person for the rest of your life, do not lay with them. Because they can change your life in what, 15 minutes? Well, okay, we'll give it an hour. Whatever. 15 minutes. Yeah. You have given them your entire life.
And that ain't even just a baby either. Yeah.
You could die. Or you can be in a situation where you are miserable for the rest of your life because this person is there, even after the kids become grown, because you're still attached to them. And you still have now the seed that is germinated in that child could also bring out some other stuff. So you've got to get to the place where you're starting to be conscious about even that before you get to that. Before you decide to give your body to this person, you shouldn't just be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is why people stay. Societal standards, low self-esteem. They think that they don't have choices. Their desire to be accepted, and they feel the loss is worse than having them around. What do you say about that, brother?
Yeah. I wish I had a list of those so I could unpack them each one at a time. Give me the first one.
Societal standards.
Societal standards. Man, look, we have some very, very, not only unrealistic standards, but some unhealthy ones.
Absolutely.
And so you'll find so many people that are hanging on to, look, I had I don't want to implicate too much. I try to be private with these things, but let me say it this way. There was a woman who was married and she had 3 children. And the husband was physically abusive, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, not just to her, but also to the children. But the standard that was set in her heart, in her mind, by her family, by society, was that you push through and weather the storm regardless, right? We don't quit, right? And I'm saying sometimes we got to figure out what the lesser of the two evils is, because, and look, it ain't just women that are being emotionally, verbally, and physically abused. There are, I think the statistics say something to the tune that almost half the time women are the ones who initiate some of this domestic violence that we're dealing with, that we're talking about, right? So, and women can be just as verbally and emotionally abusive. This just so happens to be somebody that I was talking to, right? So I think that even though we have these societal standards, there's a pendulum, right? At one point, on one end, we had stay no matter what. Now we're at the end of the spectrum where people will quit at the first sight of trouble, right? So there has to be a healthy medium that's established outside of the confines of what society has looked to establish, because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that this society has placed some very unrealistic and unhealthy ideals in our minds.
Right. Absolutely. I'm trying to find our Cash App.
Yeah. Oh, James. Yeah, we need our Cash App up there. This has been a phenomenal show as always. Maybe you should add a Cash App link. Just a thought. I have to get prepared for my show. Love you both. We love you back, brother.
Thank you so much, James, for joining us.
I should just give y'all my cash app. Y'all can trust me. I give Coach Michelle her cut.
I think it's this. Here's a Her Perspective show.
There we go. Y'all send y'all love offering. The doors of the church are open. Send your love.
The doors of the church are open.
No, in all seriousness, though, I mean, this is a labor of love, you know.
Yeah, it is.
And if you feel that we've contributed something valuable, then about any contribution is appreciated. We appreciate it.
Yeah, because we gotta pay for stuff.
We do.
So we even though we're doing this for free, we pay for this platform. We pay for the podcast platforms that we're on all of the podcasts. You name them for me because you know them better than me.
Oh man, we got Stitcher, we have iTunes, we have Podbean, we're on Pandora, we're on man, shoot, you're gonna make me pull them up, but it's a bunch of them.
Yeah, we're on all of them. Google Play. You put iTunes.
Yeah, here we go. Apple, we got Apple, we have, which is iTunes, we have Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Pocket Casts, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
we're out here. So real quick before you all leave, this is our JUNIVERSARY is our anniversary month. We became 1 year old on June the 20th, which was last Sunday on Father's Day. We kicked off our show. Our very first show was a Father's Day special. And then we also had a Father's Day special last week. This is our 50th show today, number 50, our 50th show. So I'm excited about that. We are excited about that. We have talked about the Father's worth. We've talked about where do we go wrong, better for worse. Y'all need to go over and listen to our Meet Coach Vaun and the Love Alchemist and Coach Michelamonè video on our YouTube page. Our top 5 shows, we've had over 13,000 views on our videos. That may not be a lot to some people because we got some people. It's a lot for us. Okay. And we appreciate every view that we have had in all 50 of our shows. Our top five videos has been Let's Talk About Sex, which is part 1. Let's talk about sex, baby. Number 2 is Just Friends, handling opposite sex friendships while in a relationship. Our third highest is What Do Men and Women Really Want? We've actually done a part 2 of that a couple of weeks ago. 4 is For Better or For Worse, or For Worse and For Better. And then our 5th top video is Where Did We Go Wrong? The Disintegration of Black Love. So we've talked about a gamut of different things in this show over the last year, and we're super excited. We are still in the process of building out our YouTube page. We really need your help to be able to push some people over there. Facebook is doing a lot of different things. You see that you can't do a watch party anymore. They're going to be doing some other things when it comes to businesses as well. So we're trying to build our platform over at the YouTube page so that we can do more things over there. So please go over to our YouTube page, subscribe, share. Just like we're sharing all the videos of people getting beat up with World Star. We're sharing all the videos of people having car crashes. We're sharing. These are videos that are worth sharing. We're sharing the garbage that some of these influencers are passing around, dogging out our people. But we are about helping. We are about healing. We are about building up and encouraging. So share that. That's wealth. Okay. That's how we get into those three sciences that we have not been privy to as a community. Share. It won't cost you 1 iota of a cent. Just share. If you stayed with us this long, please make sure that you're hearting us, giving us a heart, thumbs up, so that we can, get more traction. There's some people out there that don't care what we're doing, but there's some people out there like you all that do, and we appreciate every time you show up
every time you sit with us, as long as you do, every time you watch our after we're off the show, because sometimes people tap in when we're gone. We love every one of you for real, for stepping in and really coming in and viewing our videos and getting this information, because it's coming from the heart. Like Coach Vaun said earlier, this is a labor of love.
Yeah, real rap. I guess we did we get all the meat off this bone? Did we leave anything?
I think we got a lot. If there's some other stuff, anybody else have any questions? Danielle said, thank you so much. This show has become a weekly ritual for James and I. Yes, they say they watch us they do it together. That is a couple thing that they've decided to do. Every single week they watch together. So if you partnered up, you have a spouse, a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, and you want some coaching, see us every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're definitely going to drop some gems. As Kevin Jackson just said, he hasn't watched a show that he hasn't gotten some valuable gems from yet. 50 shows that we're dropping, and we're dropping some heavy knowledge on a lot of these things. Sometimes we're having fun, we're laughing, and we're acting silly, but for the most part, we're here to help heal.
Let me say this, since we talk about healing, right? I just kind of want to touch on some of the things where we talked about toxic relationships. There are signs that we went over. And then there are some things that we need to look at as to whether it can be healed, right? And there are some things that we need to, and maybe that might require a different show since we're pretty much up against the end of this one, but there is no such thing as a relationship that can't be healed as long as the two people involved want healing. Right? Any relationship can recover and become a great relationship as long as the two people involved have a mutually desired outcome.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that looks a little different in each one's mind, and that's what we're here to do, help reconcile those two ideas so that they can become congruent, right? Yeah. But there is no relationship that can't be healed unless you have a person in the relationship, one or two, who don't want healing.
Yeah.
So, see, Julius Hall says, great show. Enjoying the advice.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Curtis, for also saying enjoying the conversation. Very positive show. Thank you so much. Keisha says great information to share. I'm not sure if you shared these already. If you did, I'm sorry.
I don't think I did. Go ahead. Or maybe I did. Whatever.
And can you because you only put the YouTube page on your page. Can you put it in the? I don't know why I didn't go to all.
Oh, maybe because If
anybody on his page can copy and paste that link and put, you can't, because we need to go to all the pages.
Let me try it again.
So,
because I didn't take it from my, I can do it. Give me a minute. I can get it right now.
So if you know any couples that you would like to have highlighted on our show, please make sure that you email us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. If there's a show that you would like us to talk about, please go ahead and email us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. You can inbox us, go over to our Instagram pages. Like I said earlier, make sure that you're following Vaun the Love Alchemist on all social media platforms, Coach Michelamonè on all social media platforms, as well as ATR, all things relevant, on all social media platforms. Right now, we're streaming live from 8 different pages right now. So we really appreciate every last one of you that is on here viewing us and taking the time out with us. We really do.
We do.
Desi says, you have an amazing show. Thank you so much, Desi. Check this out. Leon says, I was in one for 25 years. She is comfortable with the way she is, don't need to change.
See, sometimes people need to hear it from a different perspective, right? Because look, as great as we might think we are, right? We all think we're intelligent. This is probably the most intelligent you and I have ever been at any point in our lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes people need to hear it from a different voice.
Yeah.
So you can be the most insightful cat, but they've grown tone deaf.
Yes.
To what it is that you're offering. So this is where coaches and counselors come in. This is why, shameless plug, but this is why we are necessary.
Yeah.
We can say the exact same thing that you've been saying for the last 26 years. And then she may hear the same message repackaged, remixed from Coach Michela or from me. And she might say, you know what, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Damn it, I've been saying that for 26 years. It don't matter.
You don't.
The remix version, and it resonated. Boy, and she cabbage passion to the same thing that you've been saying for the last 26 years. So and maybe not necessarily you. I mean, I don't know what your situation is. I don't want to make that personal, but I'm just saying this is how the mind has an amazing way of tuning out something that has grown monotonous over the years.
Yes, because you're too close. You're too close. Think about it. Think about how you, if anybody has ever, you ever worked in Vaun, you ever worked in retail?
No.
You ever been in some place where there's always this music in the background?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And after a while, somebody said, "Oh, that's my song." And you're like, "What song?" Because you've grown numb to the environment, and that person who's new and fresh comes in, they have a different voice. And now that same environment, them singing that song is now new to you.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or they're not listening to you. It's because they've become numb to the consistency of that voice.
Yep.
And it may not be as fresh, which is why you must do this exact thing on a regular basis if you are in a relationship. There should be some times when you're reviewing the relationship, coming to each other. If you're in a bad situation every 30 days, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? It may seem monotonous. It may seem redundant, but until you get to the place where you are able to come every 6 months and say, "Babe, how we doing?" and everything is still good. 6 months later, how we doing? Everything is still good. And then it shouldn't be, "Oh, everything's good." No. You know, babe, I was thinking about that last time we had that conversation. Doesn't necessarily mean something's bad. It just means that you're inspecting it. You take your car to get oil change and to get inspection. You go to the doctor to get inspected, to get health checkups. Why are you not doing health checkups in your relationship?
Yep.
You've got to be able to do that. And most times we don't know how, which is why you need to find a coach like myself and Coach Vaun, so that we can give you the tools and strategies to be able to do that. I tell my clients all the time, unless we spinning off into a whole new situation where, you know, either I'm helping you deepen this or we dealing with a whole other things. I don't want a coach, a client for 50 years. You know, I remember when I was younger going to therapy for 2 and 3 years. That's crazy. You need to be able to get the tools and the strategies that your person is giving to you so that you can use them and move forward and then go teach somebody else.
Yep. Look, relationships are more challenging today, not because people have changed so much, but the way we do things has changed.
Yeah.
Like 100 years ago, relationships were simplified because the roles were simple. We knew what men did. We knew what women did. And I'm not necessarily saying that people were happier per se. I don't know. Right. But today we've got a wide variety of choices. We got a wide variety of ideas. Everybody has, especially in a culture like ours, where it's a melting pot. And so you have various cultures coming together. You have the Hispanic ideology, you have Jewish ideology, you have you have the Irish, you have the Italians, you have ours, you know, all these different ideas about how to bring relation. And then you go across overseas, and the Europeans have a way of doing things, the ancient Kemetic way of doing things, where there's Ma'at. You have all these different ideas. What I learned though is that simple tends to be better.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty in having, look, I'm promoting us again because we have a way of simplifying things,
right,
that helps to silence out all this external noise. Oh, girl, you gotta have this. Oh man, she gotta at least be doing that. You got all this different input, all these things that are so loud in your mind that you can't even hear the very heartbeat of your relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to sound cliche or poetic or even cheesy, but I'm saying all that to say that simple is oftentimes the easiest path. And I'm telling you, I said this in my book, shameless plug about my book, right? One of the ways that we achieve that is remaining a student of the person you're in a relationship with. That requires a purposeful action. Like, I've been with my wife, married 31 years. We've been together 33 years. We were just talking this morning. We still talk a lot, right? We were sharing something this morning that even after 33 years, it would have seemed like a very basic idea. But there was something that we exchanged today that she and I didn't know. Something from the beginning of our relationship. And we were like, wow. And I'm being vague on purpose. Like, I don't want to tell y'all who.
Yeah, because it ain't y'all business what they was talking about.
But the point is, there was something exchanged that happened 33 years ago that was so profound, and we were like, we never even discussed it on that level before. Wow. So I'm saying there's always something new that you can learn. You just have to be interested in learning.
Absolutely.
Basics.
So we didn't tap into this for an hour and 45 minutes. We thank you all so much for joining us and staying with us this long. We really appreciate every one of you. We promise you that this is truly what we love doing. We love being able to sit here and pour out all that we have been either learned from, education, learn from experience, learn from our clients, and even learn from you all. When you all are engaging with us, we're still learning. So we really appreciate you sitting with us. And we can't wait to see you next Sunday. So you want to get us on out of here, brother? Yeah, listen, this healing work, this getting away from this toxicity, it requires effort, right? All you can do is all you can do. And that's enough. Yeah. Just make sure you do all you can do. Yeah. That's the word, family. We love y'all. Bye. Peace.